I am Kellen. Welcome to my story. Hello. I'm joking. Hi, I'm Ginger. This is my kitty cat, Kellen. He decided he wanted to be in my lap for a minute. He's a sweetheart. Hi, welcome so much to my channel, to my live stream, I should say. Okay, kitty, want it down. So today, first, I want to give a big shout out to all of my followers. I really appreciate every single one of you, and I love interacting with people. I really do. I really love to interact with people, and when people I appreciate every time someone comment. Hi, Carla. Hi. Oh wow, I have so much show up. Let me way back. There we go. Yeah. So anyway, saying I appreciate everyone that follows me and that comments on my different things, and I really try to comment back to you. But I do have one piece of advice. I believe this is something that's new to Instagram, is that now they can do video chats. And my piece of advice is that if you want to video chat with somebody, to first message the person and ask if it's okay. And if the person says it's not, to be all right with it, just not to bother the person. Okay, now I haven't had any major problems on Instagram. Actually, everything goes great. But recently, I've had two strangers, men that I don't know, I've never talked to them on the messenger or anything, just try to video chat call me, and I blocked both of them, which I would do to anyone that does that to me. Yeah, it was really weird, especially at 1:30 in the morning when I want to go to sleep. Yeah, it's really weird. So you have to keep in mind there is a time zone difference because there's people from all over the world on Instagram. So you have to keep that in mind. And it's not like Snapchat or somewhere where people go there actually to talk. Most people on Instagram aren't there to talk face to face with people. So just be sure to keep that in mind. And also, I want to encourage people though that if you post stuff to social media, or if you just trying to interact with people and you get some negative feedback or they're ignoring you, not to take it to heart, not to feel disheartened by it, because there's billions of people in the world and everybody can't be for everyone. And so I'm going to give an example, and I'm going to use myself, and this has not actually ever happened, but it's hypothetical. But let's say that there's 5 people on Instagram and they post basically about the exact same thing. So I have a viewpoint on it. So I write a paragraph and I post it to the 5 different people. Well, the first person reaction might be just a heart, just to show that they saw it. No biggie. The second person might look at it and say, interesting, and might actually comment, this was interesting point of view. Fine. The third person might say, oh wow, this is interesting, and may actually start a conversation with me so we can debate the point or something along those lines. The fourth person might not even read it. They don't care. They don't even read the comment. But the fifth person might say, oh my gosh, this girl's a complete idiot. I hope she never ever writes anything on my posts again. And they may block me or even put something, a comment like, boy, you're an idiot or something. This will tell them. But the thing is, it was the exact same thing on 5 different posts, and it was 5 different reactions, because people have different perspectives and different life experiences and different ways of viewing things. So yeah, so don't be disheartened when something like that happens. Keep being yourself and putting yourself out there in a safe manner though. Be sure to be safe, and just to try to enjoy the experience, and remember that not everyone's going to like your stuff, and it's perfectly okay. Just move on to the next person. And I want to assure people that I'm not going to be calling anybody. Oh goodness, I definitely would not just call a stranger up. That is just a little bit crossing the boundaries there, especially if you don't ask the person first. Just a heads up on that one. So today, sometimes I keep getting okay. I think both keep buzzing. The reason I was looking like, okay. Anyways, I'm going to tell different news stories today and my opinions on them. And some of them are kind of like unbelievable. What's going on today? Okay, so let me look and see what we have. For the first, I keep stuff on a list, or I forget them because they have some cool news stories. First, I want to say tomorrow is going to be a new national holiday in the United States. It's going to be a federal holiday, which means federal workers probably got today off, a lot of them. And it's called Juneteenth, which is to celebrate or commemorate the ending of slavery, which it's not the actual date that slavery ended in the United States, but it's a day that the troops went into Texas and they freed the last of the slaves. So that's what it commemorates. And I look forward to the day when there's no longer any slavery in the world or any human trafficking, and people can look at each other and not see another person as an object, because the only way this could happen is if someone looks at another person as an object, and that we see each other as human beings, that we see each other as we should see each other. And I really look forward to that day and pray that it does happen at some point in the future. Oh, hi, Betsy. Thank you so much for joining. Yes. So that's Juneteenth, and that's actually tomorrow, which is June 19th. That's one of my brother's birthdays. Since this is going out over all the social medias, I won't say which one, but happy birthday. Yes, I do have a brother having a birthday tomorrow. Okay, so next thing, oh my gosh. All right, if you're squeamish, then you may want to cover your ears for this story, because it's a little bit gross, but it's true. I just read it today. It's like, oh my gosh. I believe it happened around China. This man had constipation. You might think, how is that a news story? But just listen. Instead of doing the normal stuff, a man told him, hey, there's a folk remedy for that. So he listened to him, and he went to the swamp, and he got a live eel. Yes, it's a 20-inch long eel, and he stuck it up his rump. Could you imagine? I feel sorry for the eel. Could you imagine just swimming along happily, and it's a hand grabbed you, go, hello, boop. I mean, terrible. That'd be a horrible experience. Anyway, it wasn't a good experience for the man either, because his stomach started cramping, you can imagine, and he got delirious, and they had to take him to the hospital, and they operated, and that eel had eaten his way up to the guy's stomach. So he was swimming around the guy's stomach, did a lot of organ damage, and the man lived. Thankfully, and the man wasn't some young person either. He was in his 40s. He should have known better. I mean, seriously? Yeah, Carla's laughing. Yeah, seriously. The guy stuck a live eel up his rump. What did he expect? I mean, I'm not a doctor, but if you got constipation, I recommend not using live animals to cure it. I think my reputation on that one. Oh my gosh. I know that was like, oh, I couldn't believe that either, but it's true. Oh gosh. Okay, so that's the story. Now on to the next story. This one, I don't have the ending to the story yet because it's actually just happening today. There's this man, I wrote down his name, Lee Sanderlin, and he lost a bet. He was in a fantasy football league and he came in last place. So he has to spend 24 hours in a Waffle House. But he can take off 1 hour for each waffle he eats. I think so far he's eaten 5. But these aren't little waffles. They're like this big. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I would be in there forever because I might be able to have one for breakfast, dinner, supper. In 24 hours, I might be able to get one in a snack, maybe the next morning. I don't know, but I'd probably only be able to take 4 or 5 hours at the most off of my time. So I would be stuck in that Waffle House. So I don't know how many waffles he's going to be able to eat. I have to tell you that on the next broadcast because he's still in the Waffle House trying to eat waffle. I imagine after this experience, he's not going to want to see a waffle for a really, really, really long time. Oh my gosh, could you just imagine that? It's like, no more waffles to me. Thank you. Oh my. Now, the next story isn't a happy one, but it just shows if you're going to be a criminal, my advice is don't be stupid. Most criminals get caught because they're just really, really stupid. I mean, seriously. There's these 2 brothers. They're teenagers, age 17 and 19. So they were in New Jersey, and they traveled to Pennsylvania, and into a rural area, and they parked the car on the side of the road to go into the woods, and they put their hazard lights on. Okay. They're trying to cover up a crime, and they put their hazard lights on. And what happens when they're in the woods? The state trooper comes by, and he said, oh, the hazard lights on. These people are in trouble. So he stops to investigate. And he found the 2 teenagers trying to dispose of a body they just murdered. Seriously. It's like, yeah. I feel sorry for the person they murdered, too. It's like, oh, my gosh. But, yeah, they're in jail now being charged with murder because they're trying to dispose of a body. But they put on their hazard lights to show the people where they were. That is stupid. I mean, you don't do that. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, so that's pretty terrible. But it happened today, or yesterday, one. It would have been, because I just read on the news today. So I'm like, wow, that is really stupid. But I'm glad they caught them. Don't get me wrong. I'm very glad they put on the hazard lights and they caught them because people that goes around murdering people definitely need to be in jail. That's definitely okay. Next thing, since I touch on all the news stories, I have to touch on all the gun violence in Tennessee. Every morning I wake up, it's so sad. I mean, not Tennessee, I meant in the United States. There really not that much gun violence here in my state, thankfully, but The United States as a whole is every single morning, more and more and more. It's just getting ridiculous. So I come here and read it, and I think to myself, well, you know, sometimes people can be delusional, or they can have like schizophrenia or something, which I understand that. That's understandable, but so much that that's not the case in most of the cases. Let's be realistic. Most of the people are not deranged that are doing this. I mean, they're deranged in a way, but they don't have a mental illness. So I don't have a solution, unfortunately, to this problem. That's for sure. But one thing I am thinking is that some people want to just ban guns, and I'm not going to go pro or con on guns. So right now, instead, I'm just going to be realistic. And this is my realistic take on it. The first thing is, if you take away the guns, the criminals are not going to turn their guns in. And in the United States, there's overabundance of guns on the black market, and they're not going to be turned in either. So what you have is a law-abiding people turning over the guns, and then the criminals having even more guns, and that cannot turn out well. Could it save a few lives? Possibly, yeah. Taking away by a gun probably would save a few lives, but in the end, it probably take even more lives because the criminals are still going to have the gun. That's just a realistic take on it. And another thing is that, I'm going to take Tennessee, for instance. And I personally don't hunt, but people do in Tennessee. And most of the time, it's not for sport. They either take let's say they kill deer, they either use it for their own food, or they give it to a needy family that really needs the food. And if they took away the guns, and then they couldn't hunt anymore, there'd be a lot of people going hungry, a lot of families going hungry, and then they will get the food that they depend on every year. Because our people, I know, that actually does give hungry families food, and they're so appreciative of it. It really helps them out so much. So banning guns, I don't know what the answer is. Completely taking guns away in the United States would definitely not be the answer. Now, I'm not going to get into the issue of, you know, like take away certain guns or any of that. I'm not getting into that issue because I don't know the answer. But I do know that just completely banning guns in the United States would definitely not be the answer. And it would be too much of an uprising if they tried to anyway. So that would never be the answer here. Okay, I'm just trying to be realistic about that. Oh my goodness. Now, I don't want to leave on too much of a negative note, so I'm going to talk about something in my own life. This is just something weird that happened the other night. I was in bed, getting ready to go to sleep, and I heard my cat make a lot of noise. His name is Kellen. And then all of a sudden, he ran to my bedroom door, and he stopped. And then he gave the most pitiful meow I've ever heard in my life. It's not something he usually does. And I was like, go ahead, kitty, come to bed. And I put my cover back. He ran, jumped in the bed. I put the cover over and petted him, and he fell asleep. Now, usually he sleeps either at the end of my bed or in his little pet bed that he has that he likes. So it's really unusual. He's like, I don't know if something scared him or if he had a nightmare. I don't know what happened, but because he can't talk, he's a cat. I'm not psychic enough to read his mind. No, I can't read his mind, so I really don't know what happened. But it's so weird because it's like something scared him or something. And usually just runs in my room, but he just stops at the door and goes meow, you know, really sad and pitiful. Oh my gosh, so I don't know what happened to my cat in that instant, but he's fine now. Although last night he actually did come and get in bed with me again, but he didn't meow or anything. I don't know what's going on with him. It's like, whoa, like don't get on. Yeah, maybe he's upset because we had company all last week and he's not used to that. Even though they didn't actually stay in my home, they have that nighttime still. Yeah, maybe that he's not used to all the people being around. I'm not sure what upset him, but it did. Oh man. So does anybody have any questions or comments they'd like to make today? Because I am more than happy to answer things. Oh my, because them were the main news stories that I've read. I mean, of course, there's a lot of other news stories going on. Definitely, but those are the main ones I wanted to touch on today. And I do encourage people, I really do. I'm honest, I really do like people interacting with me, and I really do like to, if anybody wants to debate something that's not a hot topic, that's always fun, especially if it's something more along the lines of philosophical, where no one to get mad because there's no real answer to it. Yeah, them type of things are really fun, and I don't mind doing that, or even debating them on here. That would always be fun too. So if anybody has any topics they want to debate or something, just leave it in the comments section, and I'd be more than happy to do that. Anyways, I just came on to talk about the few news stories today. So until next time, peace out, peace in, peace all around. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.